Next, there is a term called climate. The climate is different from the weather. As we know, weather is the day-to-day condition of the atmosphere of a particular place. Here the climate is the average weather pattern taken over a long time. Say for example, it may be 25 years or 30 years or 50 years. So this will call the climate of that place. So in short, we can distinguish between weather and climate is weather is the day-to-day condition of the atmosphere, that is the atmospheric condition of that particular place for a short period of time, say for maybe a 1 day or 1 week. But for the climate, it is the weather pattern for a decades. Now let's see this table. This table 7.2 is for the information about climate for the Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir, and table 7.3 is for the Tiruvananthapuram, Kerala. Let's see. This is the month starting from January to December, and in the month of January, the mean temperature for the minimum temperature was recorded as minus 2.3 degrees Celsius, and the maximum temperature in the month of January was recorded is 4.7, and the mean total rainfall was 57. Likewise, for all the 12 months for a particular year are recorded as a mean for each month. Here the same thing for the January. In the month of January, the mean temperature for the minimum temperature was 22.2, and the mean temperature for the maximum temperature was 31.5 degrees Celsius, and the mean total rainfall was 23. So by observing this data, we can easily see the difference in the climate of Jammu and Kashmir and Kerala. We can see that Kerala is very hot and wet in comparison with Jammu and Kashmir. So likewise, we can study the data for the western region of India. For example, Rajasthan will show that the temperature is high during most part of the year. But during winter, which lasts only for a few months, the temperature is quite low. Rajasthan receives very little rainfall, so the climate of the Rajasthan can be said as hot and dry. Likewise, the northeastern India receives rain for a major part of the year, so we can say the climate of the northeast is wet. Let's see the next topic, climate and adaptation. On the Earth's surface, there are different places where the temperature is very hot and the temperature is very cold. So for example, the desert region is very hot and the polar regions are very cold. So the animals living in different regions have different adaptations in order to survive in the place where they live. Let's see the first region, the polar region. As we already noted, the polar regions are very cold. So in the polar region, 6 months the sun does not set, and the 6 months the sun does not rise. That is In a year, 6 months are day and 6 months are night. The temperature of the polar region is very low. It reaches up to minus 37 degrees Celsius. Here you may think that the ice freeze at 0 degrees Celsius. This minus 37 degrees Celsius is below 0 degrees Celsius, which shows that it is very cold. One of the example of the animal living in the polar region is polar bear. In order to adapt in this polar region, polar bear have a white fur, so they are not easily available in the snowy white background. The useful of this white fur is it protects them from predators. It also helps them in catching their prey. In order to protect the extreme cold, the polar bear have a layer of fat under their skin. That layer of fat under the skin is known as blubber. Since the polar bears have a layer of fat under the skin or the fur, when they are so well insulated, so they have to go slowly and race in order not to overheat their body. Since we know the fur and the blubber keeps the body of the polar bear warm, if they run very fast or they are moving here and there, then their body will be overheated. During the warm days, in order to cool down the body of the polar bear, they go for swimming. Polar bears are good swimmer. Its paws are wide and large, which help it not only to swim but also walk with ease in the snow. While swimming underwater, it can close its nostrils and can remain underwater for long durations. It has a strong sense of smell so that it can catch its prey for food. So let's see this flow chart of the polar bear which adapts in the polar region. Polar bear has two thick layers of fur. This thick layer of fur keeps it warm in cold weather. Polar bear has white fur which is not easily visible in the snowy white background. The importance of this white fur is its predator and prey are unable to see it. The polar bear has a very strong sense of smell which helps the bear to locate and catch its prey. Polar bear has long, curved and sharp claws which help it to walk on ice. Polar bear has a layer of fat under its skin which is known as blubber. This blubber insulates its body from cold and keeps it warm. There is another animal which lives in the polar region. That animal is the penguin. Like polar bear, penguin has a thick skin and a lot of fat to protect it from cold. This keeps their body warm. Penguins are also good swimmers. Their bodies are streamlined and their feet have webs making them good swimmers. Some other animals living in the polar region are fishes, mugs, oxen. reindeers, foxes, seals, whales, birds, etc. You have to remember that fishes can remain under cold water for a long time, but birds cannot remain in the cold weather for a long time, so they migrate to warmer regions in order to survive it when the winter arrives. During the winter, they go to the warmer place, and again, when the winter is over, they go back to their original habitat. Let's see these animals. These are the migratory birds in their habitat, or the migratory birds in flight. Let's see this one. Did you know? Some migratory birds travel as much as 15,000 kilometers. It is a very long distance. They migrate in order to escape the extreme climatic conditions at home. Generally, they fly high where the wind flow is helpful and the cold conditions allow them to dissipate the heat generated by their flight muscles. But how these birds travel to the same place year after year is still a mystery. It seems that these birds have a built-in sense of direction and know in which direction to travel. Some birds probably use landmarks to guide them. Many birds may be guided by the sun during the day and stars at night. There is some evidence that birds may use the magnetic field of the earth to find direction. And it is not only birds that migrate. Mammals, many types of fish and insects are also known to migrate seasonally in search of more hospitable climates. Let's see the next region, the tropical rainforest. The tropical rainforest lies around the equator. As you know, equator is very hot. So most of the days during the year is very hot. Even in the coldest month, that is during the winter also, the temperature is about 15 degrees Celsius, which is very hot. As you know, during the winter, the temperature is generally at around 3 degrees Celsius, 4 degrees Celsius, but in this tropical rainforest the temperature is 15 degrees Celsius, which is quite high as compared to other places during winter. And during the hot summer the temperature crosses 40 degrees Celsius. These regions have days and nights are almost equal in length throughout the year. There is a plenty of rainfall in this region. An important feature of this region is the tropical rainforest. So tropical rainforests are found in Western Ghats and Assam in India, Southeast Asia, Central America and Central Africa. Because of the continuous warmth and rain, this region supports wide variety of plants and animals. So most of the plants and animals are found in this tropical region because of the warmth and rain. There are many more animals living in this tropical rainforest. Some of them are monkeys, apes, gorillas, tigers, elephants, leopards, lizards, snakes, birds, and insects. The climatic conditions in rainforests are highly suitable for supporting an enormous number and a variety of animals. So there is a great competition for food and shelter since the number of animals are high. Some animals are adapted to living on trees. Let's see this animal, which is a red-eye frog. This red-eye frog has developed sticky pads on its feet to help it climb trees on which it lives. To help them live on the trees, monkeys have long tails for grasping branches. Their hands and feet are such that they can easily hold onto the branches. Since there are many competition for food, some animals are adapted to get food not easily reachable. For example, the bird toucan, which possesses a long, large beak. This large beak helps to reach the fruits on branches which are otherwise too weak to support its weight. Many tropical animals have sensitive hearing, sharp eyesight, thick skin, and a skin color which helps them to camouflage by blending with the surroundings. This camouflaging protects them from predators. For example, the big cats like lion and tiger have thick skins and sensitive hearing. This lion-tailed macaque, which is also known as beard ape, lives in the rainforest of the Western Ghats. Its most outstanding feature is the silver-white mane, which surrounds the head from the cheeks down to its chin. It is a good climber and spends a major part of its life on a tree. It feeds mainly on fruits. It also eats seeds, young leaves, stems, flowers, and buds. This bird ape also searches for insects under the bark of the trees. Since it is able to get sufficient food on the trees, it rarely comes down on the ground. There is another well-known animal of Indian tropical rainforest, which is the Indian elephant. It has adapted to the conditions of rainforest in many remarkable ways. Say, for example, its trunk. It uses it as a nose because of which it has a strong sense of smell. The trunk is also used by it for picking up food. Moreover, its tusks are modified teeth. This can tear the bark of trees that elephant loves to eat. So the elephant is able to handle the competition for food rather well. Large ears even hear very soft sounds. They also help the elephant to keep cool in the hot and humid climate of the rainforest by moving their ears like a fan. Let's read out again some important things that we have learned in this chapter. The day-to-day condition of the atmosphere at a place with respect to the temperature, humidity, rainfall, wind speed, etc. is called the weather at that place. The weather is generally not the same on any 2 days and week after week. The maximum temperature of the day occurs generally in the afternoon, while the minimum temperature occurs in the early morning. The times of sunrise and sunset also change during the year. All the changes in the weather are driven by the sun. The average weather pattern taken over a long time, say 25 years, is called the climate of the place. The tropical and the polar regions are the two regions of the Earth which have severe climatic conditions. Animals are adapted to the conditions in which they live. The polar regions are very cold throughout the year. The sun does not set for 6 months in a year, and in the other 6 months it does not rise. Animals in the polar region are adapted to the extremely cold climate by having some special characteristics such as white fur, strong sense of smell, a layer of fat under the skin, wide and large pores for swimming and walking, etc. Migration is another means to escape the harsh cold conditions. Because of the hospitable climatic conditions, huge populations of plants and animals are found in the tropical rainforest. Animals in the tropical rainforest are adapted such that they eat different kinds of food to overcome the competition for food and shelter. Some adaptations of animals living in the tropical rainforests include living on the trees, development of strong tails, long and large beaks, bright colors, sharp patterns, loud voice, diet of fruits, sensitive hearing, sharp eyesight, thick skin, ability to camouflage in order to protect themselves from predators, etc. Here it comes, the end of the chapter. Chapter number 7, Weather, Climate and Adaptations of Animals to Climate. Thank you all.